Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Jay's Day Trade. Today we'll go over the Bitcoin charts, some summary of the Bitcoin halving, and how it's related to the Federal Reserve policy and the stimulus that's been going on, the increase in M2 money supply, comparing Bitcoin and cryptocurrency to different markets as well, and how all this relates into price and the bullish narrative for the cryptocurrency markets overall, as well as discussing some chart analysis of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Hope you find some of this information useful today. This information is only for educational purposes only, should not be taken as financial advice, but just as a starting point to further pique your interest into cryptocurrency and this crazy market. I know that cryptocurrency is a very niche market, very confusing and not user-friendly at all. So hopefully this can provide some guidance and some insights into the importance of cryptocurrency, of Bitcoin, and why it's something that we should be paying attention to now. So I'd like to start off with the Bitcoin chart. As I talked about in the first video, I like to start off with the top-down approach of starting to look at the weekly charts first, and then we could tailor it down to the daily charts. So here's a weekly chart of Bitcoin. As you can see, it's been extremely bullish starting in December 2020 when it broke the 20K range right here, and the previous peak back in December 2017. Previously, before that, the Bitcoin high, I believe, from around 2014 or so was around 1200. So when Bitcoin first broke that price, that was back in February 2017, and we saw a price run from around like 1200 all the way to 20K. So about 10 months after it broke its all-time high, it kept running. So here, if we relate that to the price action going on now, we just broke the 20K range at the end of 2020 in December around here, and what is that? We've only had nearly 4 months into the bull run of crypto, of Bitcoin, and as you can see, the moving averages are listed here. This is naked trading. I don't have any of my support resistance or trend lines, but look back here when 2016 started, you can see the red, the 9-day EMA above the green 20-day EMA. So that's the aggregate of the previous 9 candles price action. The price is this red line, and the green is a 20-day, so the aggregate price of the last 20 candles, and the yellow is a 200-day SMA. You can see them right here, and the blue is a 50-day SMA. So as you can see on the whole bull runs, the red was always above the green and the yellow was above the blue. This is kind of a lagging indicator since it has the previous price action of the candles, but it historically acts as a support, and in a bullish trend you could see that it normally, when it hits those ranges, it tends to bounce off and resume this uptrend, and you're seeing the same situation happen here for Bitcoin. Let me turn on my trend lines and support resistance. And first of all, you can see here big ascending triangle on Bitcoin. I've been watching it for the past 2-3 years, and when price actually broke this range right here, it ran from, what was that, when from the peak of the bear market, when it crashed from 6K down, it hit around 3K. It ran from like December 2018 to July 2019. It ran from 3K to 14K. That was a peak of this triangle, and then it resumed down. Here's when coronavirus happened, back down to about, it did actually hit 3K again, but back to around 5K, and resumed this uptrend. But that was a black swan event, which is an unforeseen event that you can't really plan for. But when Bitcoin, so you can also see that this is the weekly chart, so it's a longer time frame. but you want to look at the closes of the candles and then understand what each candle means. So let's pick one candle for example. So this green one right here. So the bottom of this candle is where the week started out. So that's on a Sunday. And then the top of this candle, this wick right here, is the peak of the price throughout the week. But then the close of the body of the candle, the fatter, more wider part, is where price closed for the week. So as you can see, the closes of the week, the resistance in 2019 was around like 11 or 12K. So when Bitcoin in 2020, nearly a year later, was back at that range and it was testing it, this was the price range I was looking at to be extremely bullish on Bitcoin and to further look into the market more closely. You could see it tested it for some time back in August. It dipped a little bit below, but like we discussed earlier, it was using the estimated moving averages. Looks like the green on the 20 as support. And then once it truly broke with volume, so volume is another important factor in price action. You want to look at volume to confirm the strength of the move of the candles. So you can see the volume was increasing. And this orange line here, these are the volume bars for each weekly candle. On this orange line is the average volume of the last 20 candles before it. So if you see a volume candle above this yellow line, that means it further confirms the candle that it's a strong move. If it's green, it's bullish. If it's red, of course, it's bearish. But here you can start to see when it broke out on this candle back in October, broke out to above 13K. This was the highest close since 2019. It closed above this level, it closed above this back in August, and you can see it's the highest close up here. And then, of course, with the highest close, with confirmation from volume, you can see the uptrend has been going on ever since. And zooming in closer, I have these percentage drops. So this is when Bitcoin reached a local top and it dropped down, but you can see it dropped 30% here, it dropped 26%, and now on the recent drop, it's dropped 18%. So the volatility is slowly decreasing, and it's signaling somewhat more confidence in the market. You could see here, zooming in a little further, we're on the daily chart now. I could even move this green trend line right here, but looks like an ascending triangle pattern is forming. And every time, even on this daily time frame, you can see it bounced off this blue 50-day SMA, and this further acted as support, bounced up and kept continuing. Same thing here on the recent drop, where it dropped 26%. It didn't even touch the blue SMA, but somewhat acted as support as well. But you can see here, I can move this trend line down, bounce right off the blue 50-day SMA. So that's why I like to use those indicators. Some people like to use other indicators, Bollinger Bands, MACD, RSI, whatnot, but I just like to keep it simple and this works for me. So just volume, price action, understanding the candles and trend lines, diagonal trend lines and support and resistance, and understanding the chart pattern. So it looks like a big ascending triangle for me forming here. And we did just have a few red days in the market with somewhat increased volume, so somewhat worrisome, but we're still in the chart pattern right here. And you could still see that it is hugging closer towards the resistance, the top of this range. You could even draw a trend line up here, down, to show what we need to break. But really, the market likes whole numbers. So I'd ideally like to see Bitcoin above 60K and then above 62K with strong volume and a strong bullish candle on the daily chart to confirm a strong move on Bitcoin. Bitcoin actually has some bullish narratives coming up in the next week. I believe on April 15, the Coinbase IPO is releasing. Extremely hype coin. I believe some firm increased their price targets on Coinbase today, and Coinbase released their earnings yesterday for the quarter, and their quarter for 2021 already exceeded all of 2020. So one of the most hyped IPOs of this year is going to be releasing, and that should be bullish for Bitcoin's price as well. Or it could be a sell the news event, and you never know until the day comes. But overall, Bitcoin still looks good. It's within the chart pattern, either ascending triangle or symmetrical triangle. And the more price hits a resistance level and stays near the top of the resistance, which is the supply zone where sellers are either taking profit or there's not as much buying pressure. It shows more so when you hit a certain level, when you hit a certain resistance level, that resistance level will eventually break. So I'm expecting Bitcoin to go up, but who knows when. It still can consolidate for a little while longer. Coinbase IPO will be around here on the 15th, so maybe it might break up then. Who knows? But similar to if price further continues to test the support level. So right here you can see back in from June all the way to November, it was testing the 6K range for the longest time. The more you hit a certain level, the more likely it's about to break down in that direction. So and then you can see Bitcoin dropping. Right here was the price or the level of maximum opportunity for Bitcoin. All right, so now we can dive into the Ethereum charts. Let's start off with blank chart on Ethereum. First thing that I see when just looking at this chart, it looks like there's a big double bottom rounding bottom formation pattern. One bottom here and another bottom right here. And it looks like there's a neckline around 300 to about 450, 500, so somewhere around this range. But when Ethereum broke this 300 level, or even cleared, if you wanted to be safer, cleared above this 450 range, it was extremely bullish, and you could see the continued price movement. It just ran crazy after that. Turning on the indicators and exactly what I have charted here, you can see that once it broke this level, it just kept running, and this was the level I was looking for, and perfect accumulation was all throughout this range. So even if you just entered here in the 300 level, and you're at 2K now, so you would have 6 times your money. Now let's zoom into the daily chart on Ethereum. So the previous high for Ethereum was 1400 back in January 2018. And let me throw how much ETH ran. Basically, so it ran about 9,000% in the last bull run, but we're not going to get nearly that percentage, so due to the market cap of Ethereum now, but we can still see some significant gains even if we get a 10x from here. Since we're just breaking above the 1400 previous top, Ethereum could hit 20K. But that's something we'll discuss later, talking about the market caps of these different coins. Well, we can zoom into the daily on Ethereum. So it's looking like Ethereum broke past the previous resistance. And you're seeing another triangle pattern form here. The previous resistance was 2K back in February, and then we broke past that earlier this month, and then now we're retesting the previous resistance trend line as support. And as we talked about earlier, the red and green EMAs normally act as a support in a bull trend, and you could see it touched right at the green EMA here, which is the 20-day EMA, and it's acting as support now. So we'll see if this trend line can hold as support and if we could continue a bullish move up on Ethereum. But Ethereum looks good. But there is one thing I like to highlight that a lot of people don't really know when it comes to crypto. So overall, crypto, the main point for me is to gain Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're really the only two coins that matter. Bitcoin with at the end of the day, but these also don't have the highest upside due to having the largest market cap already, but they're the most stable and secure, have the first movers advantage, have the most developers building on it, and have the institutional um, support backing them. One thing to look at is the Ethereum Bitcoin pair. So here is a ETH BTC chart. So it's a ratio of the price of Ethereum over the price of Bitcoin. And if this ratio or the price of Ethereum, since Ethereum is on top and Bitcoin on bottom, if it is in an uptrend, that signals to the market that Ethereum is more bullish than Bitcoin at that moment. And you can see from March 2018 all the way down here to January 2020, Ethereum underperformed Bitcoin because it was a negative or it was a downtrend this whole time. But starting in January 2020, no matter even what the price of Ethereum was, you can trade it just based on the ratio chart. So starting in January, you can see there's a series of lower highs or higher lows, sorry. So a low, higher low here, another higher low, and another higher low, and higher highs on the top of the trend. So one high, higher high here, and another higher high. And let me turn on my drawings now. So what I got here for Ethereum, the ETH BTC part. You can see the moving averages uptrending, increase in volume on this. Let me remove that. But yeah, see all these moving averages, the 50-day SMA right here is acting as support and just higher highs and higher lows. I'm expecting ETH BTC to break above this resistance and then continuous uptrend, still uptrend up, and possibly around here, maybe around June, July, or May, whatever, this would be a possible take profit level for Ethereum, and you could even sell Ethereum back into Bitcoin or some Ethereum to increase your Bitcoin stack here. And then it may go down, it may keep going back up, but that would be a logical place to take profit, not financial advice, but probably what I'm going to do. Another thing to look at, whether to be in Bitcoin or in other alts such as Ethereum, is to look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. So the Bitcoin dominance chart shows a percentage of market cap that Bitcoin by itself is taking of the total cryptocurrency space. So as you can see here, since January 2021, Bitcoin dominance has been dropping. It hit this peak back in 70, so Bitcoin by itself was 70% of the total cryptocurrency market here. But since then, it has dropped around 15% and now sitting at support at the 55% range. And as we discussed earlier, the more times it hits a support, the more likely it's bound to break, or Bitcoin can just go crazy and just bounce right at support and sits at support and keep and move up as well, or get faked out, reject here, and then keep dropping back down. But Bitcoin also It does support on the RSI. I don't really like to use RSI, but it looks like it has been helpful to track the trend of Bitcoin dominance here. So this is not really a chart per se or chart analyzing price action. It's just another indicator or way to assess the market of which plays you should be in. So theoretically, since December, since Bitcoin dominance is dropping, you likely could have been in Ethereum more than Bitcoin since then. As that shows exactly why the ETH BTC chart has been bullish since then. Correlating it to the altcoin market cap dominance chart. So this is basically the inverse of the Bitcoin dominance chart. You can see how bullish it is. Higher lows, low here, somewhat, but and we're seeing higher highs. So I'm expecting. So this is the weekly chart, and we're seeing that ETH BTC closed somewhat here at the highest high it has been, even higher than in August 2020. And right now, this orange line is a 200-day moving average right at it. So it's acting as resistance right now. But if we break above it and close above it, I further expect altcoin dominance to further take more of the market cap of the total crypto market cap, and a continuous uptrend, and maybe possibly reject somewhere along this trend line up here. And I have the RSI here as well. We're nearing the peak or the resistance trend line on RSI. Let's see. So this is one of the traders I like to follow on Twitter, Emperor BTC, and he has this good quote he discussed, and I like to read it on the importance of technical analysis and why I want to highlight it so much. So Murphy, in his book on technical analysis, explains in detail why it is so. To keep it short, price discounts everything. Market price of an asset has already taken into consideration all the fundamental news. So everything you see in a chart regarding price action takes into account everything from the earnings, investor sentiment, um, how it relates in overall market cap and in its individual sector, and that is already integrated into the price. So news, information, and other analysis available in the public have already affected price, and hence price is a sum of all the fundamental information basically. And technical analysis, why I try to emphasize it so much, is a study of price. So by studying price, you're basically already studying the fundamentals. This is why I want to emphasize the importance of learning technical analysis and why it's such an important skill, and how you can use this in trading stocks or investing in stocks, doing options, even assessing the real estate market. There's different ETFs for real estate, or there's a housing ETF as well, or even if you want to do Forex or do commodities trading, it's applicable everywhere. And Brett Capital is also another one of my favorite Twitter follows, and he also has a YouTube channel, which is excellent, as well as a newsletter that I'm to subscribe to for his emails. So this is the crypto money flow cycle. Fiat, like US dollars, a euro, flows into Bitcoin first and foremost, how it has the first mover's advantage. And then afterwards, when Bitcoin starts to settle a little bit, you'll see some money flow into large caps, such as Ethereum, Litecoin, XRP. So over the past weeks, you've seen XRP have a crazy run, Ethereum running. So right now in the money flow cycle, we're around this range where since Bitcoin is kind of settling around in the high 50s, 60K range, and dominance is dropping, that's why money is flowing into the large caps. So it's essential in understanding how the cryptocurrency market moves. And maybe in a further video, we'll discuss the market caps that differentiates between a large cap, a mid cap, and a low cap. And then afterwards, when Ethereum starts to settle down and large caps start to settle down, money will flow into mid caps and low caps, and the cycle will repeat again. We'll discuss Litecoin in another episode, but I wanted to highlight the total altcoin market cap. So this is an important chart showing the growth of altcoin market, uh, overall altcoin market, and how early we are in this cycle in 2021. So you can see in 2014 the previous peak, and then what happened in 2017 when it started back in January 2017 to January 2018, the last altcoin cycle. Altcoins ran 27,000%. That is insane. Um, so you can see the growth that occurred then and how it's starting all over again now. And we're just at the starting line from breaking the previous altcoin market cap all-time high. And you can see when it first broke, it still retested the previous highs basically. And so you can see a run, but don't be surprised if you see it drop back down before continuation up for altcoins. So we're still very early in this crypto bull run, I believe, and still very early in the altcoin run. So what I personally do, not financial advice, I like to take profits on alts in percentages as certain targets or resistance that I have set out. And then I take those profits either into Bitcoin or Ethereum based on their charts. And then I still like to hold a certain percentage of altcoins just for this run that I think is going to happen. So this is an important chart or graphic showing the total money supply and relating cryptocurrency to the total value of what is spent on various things or sectors throughout the world. And this article is actually back from May 2020, so it's completely different now, especially with the money supply that has been thrown into the market by the U.S. government due to coronavirus. So back then, cryptocurrency only had a market cap of 244 billion. This is in May 2020. Right now, this CoinGecko, this is one of the main websites I like to use to look at various price action and looking at the market cap of different coins and further analyzing them through there. Right now, we're basically at a $2 trillion market cap from this article back where we were at 250 billion. So we've basically, what is that, for like 8x since then, since May 2020. And you can see relatively how small cryptocurrency. So right now we're at 2 trillion, right? Here is the Fed's balance sheet right here, 7 trillion. This is back in May 2020. There's about $8 trillion worth of the billionaires, of course, Bezos and Elon and stuff. Their net worth has gone up crazy since then. But one of the narratives for Bitcoin is that it's the digital gold, right? So the digital version of things has always exceeded and taken over the previous old analog version. If we're comparing CDs to MP3s, we're comparing videotapes to DVDs, always the newest version of tech has moved past and become the standard for the future. So that's what they're comparing Bitcoin to as digital gold, since Bitcoin has a limited supply of 21 million. And let me share this graphic right here as well of the Bitcoin halving. So right here shows the price of Bitcoin, this orange line, but every 4 years there's a halving. So various nodes and computers throughout the world are set up to mine Bitcoin, but every 4 years the amount of Bitcoin mined is cut in half. So back here from 2009 when Bitcoin first started out through 2010 up to 2013, it was 7,200 Bitcoin mined per day, and then cut down 2013 to 3,600, and you could see whenever the halving happened, the effects on price shot up around 12 to 18 months later. It normally historically has been seen. And when the next halving happened back in 2016, um, in I believe it was July 2016, here in when it hit December 2017, January 2018, Bitcoin ran up. So that was about 18 months. And the last halving, and you can see the amount of Bitcoin per day gets cut in half every 4 years. And then when we just had our last halving in May 2020, now we're only making 900 Bitcoin per day. You can see how price has risen after. So May 2020, we're not even 12 months in yet to the post-halving phase, and we still have at least 6 months, possibly, if not longer, because there's a theory of lengthening cycles as a cryptocurrency market cures. So right now, the total crypto market cap is about 2 trillion, right? The total market cap of gold is 10.9 trillion. But if we're comparing Bitcoin to gold, or Bitcoin to supersede gold, to be better than gold eventually as a global store of value, and that has limited supply, that can be instantly transferable, that's public on the blockchain, and is decentralized, no one power controls it. Right now, Bitcoin is basically at a $1 trillion market cap. So 1 trillion compared to 10 trillion, we're only 1/10 of the way to gold's market cap. So if we were, this is even 10.9 trillion, so basically 1/11th. So we could 10x or 11x Bitcoin's price from here. So we're at basically, let's say 60K. So that's where they're coming up with these astronomical targets for Bitcoin of 500, 600K. I'm not saying we'll get to that this cycle. It is possible, but we could eventually reach that in the next cycle or the next halving, which would happen in 2024. So maybe by 2025 or 2026, that could possibly happen. And comparing it to the stock market, the cryptocurrency market total is only 2 trillion. The stock market in total is 89.5 trillion. So some money possibly from stocks can flow into crypto. Total M1 money supply in the world is 35.2 trillion. Total debt 253 trillion. Real estate 280 trillion. So you can see how much money in the world is just everywhere. And if crypto can get certain tiny pieces of that, even 1%, 2% of that, that will shoot up the market cap so much. And last thing I like to highlight is the M1 money supply. So this is a big driving factor in the Bitcoin price or in the increase of assets in general in the past year. And the equities market and real estate, as you can see how hot the market is. And what has contributed to that is a lot of the M1 money supply from the US government. So here's an explanation of what the M1 money supply is. So M1 consists of currency of outside the US Treasury, federal banks, and deposits. And so when the first financial crisis hit back in like February 2008, so this is in the basically in the trillions, when we were at like 1.3 trillion about, and then you can see how it steadily increased to about 4 about like 12 years. But when coronavirus hit this year, we're at 4,000, right? We're at basically 18,000 now. So that means we more than 4 times the amount of money circulating in the market that can be that was needed to save businesses, to save the economy, and to bail out all these damn businesses and some of it trickled down to the average American. But this is a huge reason why there's been a balloon in the prices of all assets, of equities, real estate, and even the cryptocurrency market. This has diluted the value of the US dollar and has shown an increase in prices of various assets. So this is another tool why people are bullish on Bitcoin, because it's a hard money due to its supply cap. And what people think is that the government can just print money into oblivion and they just control everything basically, right? But the thing about Bitcoin is nobody controls it. Nobody knows truly who made it, Satoshi Nakamoto. Nobody really knows who he is, and all the computers in the world um, manage it, but there's no one central authority. So all this ties in to the bullish narrative for the cryptocurrency market and Bitcoin, and hope you found this useful. Please like, comment, subscribe. If there's any further questions you have, I know I'm just all over the place, but this video is just a one take. I can't even edit it. But hope you found some of this information useful, educational, and further pique your interest in cryptocurrency and further delving in further. Hope you have a good night. Thank you for watching. Peace.